Before we start the show, let's just give everybody a look of what we've got here.
Yeah, looking good, brother. Looking good.
Hang on a second.
It's looking good. Looking good, man. Looking good. Chico and the man. Looking good.
Okay.
All right, five.
So here's what we got.
All right.
Oh,
Whoa.
This is
Look
the
like
new
we're
setup.
big time, man. Look like we big time, yo. What's up? What's up?
So we've
God forgive me for delving into this gossip, but
But
it's so relevant. It needs to be discussed.
It needs to be talked about.
And we're going to put our own special Twitch into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Biz with Mike Heron. That's me and my homegirl, my sister from another mister, my partner, my ride or die, my number one blogger and number one in your heart, Mika Tamika.
Well, I know people are
Marie.
thrown off. Everybody's thrown off by my real name, huh?
From a promotional standpoint, it's a terrible decision. But I ain't gonna fuck with you. Do whatever you gotta do. Today, obviously, is going to be a little bit of a different show, but it has all the plot lines of a evening soap opera.
Listen, I can't wait till the movie comes out.
But but you know what happened though? Quibi tried that with him, but their focus group said after he got indicted the second time, he was no longer a sympathetic character. So they didn't think that he would have the character to come back. Did you watch the thing on Quibi at all, Rob, about Jasiel?
No.
Quibi went out of business after a half a minute, but they did a quality job. I thought Will Flanagan looked amazing.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Quibi was documentary series that they thought if they were broke down into 10 to 12-minute features and released once a week, they would get a huge following, you know?
Oh, okay.
But
A net thing? It was a net thing?
It was a Quibi. It was a network. One of the old CEOs of Disney founded it.
Oh, okay.
So they did something on Jasiel.
Well, I think after all of this is over, I think he's going to get a movie. Not a movie, but he's going to get a documentary. Really.
Or a book. But what is it going to be about? It's going to be about a kid who stayed arrogant and defiant and ignorant and never apologized. Is it going to be a redemption story? Is it going to be a story where finally a con man got exposed?
It could.
It
could go either way, you know.
Sure.
It could go either way for him.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. And while many people is going to be a joyous day, and let me explain to everybody out there right now. And I just got off the phone with Will Flanagan, who was an individual who was it's all right, who was affected by this because Jasiel told some lies about him. Mm-hmm. That cost him his mayoral seat, about the gun being pulled and about this and intimidation. And I didn't believe it from the beginning. And I think you know that, right? That from the beginning of this, listen, I've been around for a long time, okay? And I've interviewed 5 people that have run for president. I've interviewed the head of the Black Panthers, the head of this, the head of that. Very difficult to fool me. Okay, and for something right away, I thought he was bright. I thought he had a bright future. I just wasn't buying the bullshit. And we've had a lot of discussions about that in the recent weeks because a lot of people have said through time hops and stuff, said Hurricane Man, you were right on the money. Well,
when I looked at him, I'm not from Fargo. Yeah. So looking from the outside looking in, it was refreshing. When you see somebody that young, it was refreshing. Somebody that
good
young.
Good looking, well-dressed.
I didn't say he was good looking,
yeah.
but...
yeah. Well, some people did. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but it was...
Well-dressed,
right, he
command presence.
His age spoke a lot to the younger generation that they could, do it. But, and then, look.
When did you stop feeling badly for him?
When he started... When you started seeing him in the media very cocky.
Yeah.
It was the arrogance for me, like walking out of the courtroom smiling. This is serious shit. It isn't, or just the arrogance, like the arrogance.
Sure. And one of the things that we're going to talk about, which nobody else has really talked about, is has his attorneys done him a service? I know one thing. They took a lot of his money. Now, whether it was his money or some poor investor's money, we don't know that.
Right.
But they got a lot of them, are building a house or buying a summer house off what the young ex-mayor Farver had paid them. Rob, can we get that comment section up and pop if possible?
Yep.
And, we're going to ask you a question about, what are your feelings about what's going on. But the sad saga, which was once promising, of ex-mayor, former ex-mayor Jasiel Correia, is about to come to a climax. A week from today, he will be in federal court, and he is about to get sentenced. He is now 29 years old. When he got elected, he was how old?
I want to say it was like 20. What year was that?
I'm not sure, but he got elected extremely young. He was the youngest mayor in Massachusetts.
All right, so he got elected in 2014.
Okay.
So what is it? 2021. So,
yeah, so 23 years old.
Yeah, 23. So and that was a great thing for the younger generation to see, that age group to see.
Is that too young now?
For office, I think so.
I think so.
Now seeing this unfold, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I think they need to have some kind of, I say 20, 25.
But the irony is this, right? And me and Rob have talked about this. We were talking about the process did not corrupt him. He came in corrupting the process, Rob. It's not like he's a politician who served with my father and, did 25 years as a state rep. Got
he
tired
came
of
in
it,
with a
and took a couple of $1,000 to help a contractor out.
Right.
He came in, with the history of fraud and continued it, if you want to believe the federal court system, over and over and over again. And some people say that there is a whole nother case potentially that is going to be rolled out after this, involving gambling machines, involving some other pay for play and other stuff.
When did this become? I don't want to say an issue, but like when did it start to bubble?
Well, when it all started, when he was developing the app Snow Owl, which, depending on who you talk to, was widely received or something that had been done before with Yelp and whatever it was. But their ability to tie into Facebook and get people's locations, kind of separate themselves from it. So who knows with an app? Usually it's feast or famine, right?
Yep.
The problem is that's where the fraud began. And ironically enough, and I believe I was talking to Rob and others the other day, I'm looking to develop a music, like a music gong show app.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, and another app. Because not many people make apps, okay?
Right.
And I went to the people who created Jasiel's app. And you know what they told me? He never paid them. And this is in the beginning. Like, listen, I have the kid's number in this phone right here. I've talked to the kid 4 times. I'm not going to tell you his name. I'll tell you the number. But there aren't many people who are capable of doing what this young man and his team can do. They no longer do it full time. But because we got connected from a family friend and he believed in the idea a little bit, he's going to, at worst, consult me, if not get his team back together to try to do it, because they think it's going to be simple. But this is where it started with him. He did not pay the kids who did the app for him.
So now, was this before he decided to run for mayor?
Well, this is what happens, right? Now, he runs for mayor, the boy prodigy, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a young man, as an 8th grader, he started this Youth Bill of Rights, which I thought was a bunch of bullshit. He takes a lot of credit for it. I think Youth Bill of Rights should be a kick in the ass, some tough love, and listen to your parents, and take your vitamins and work hard in school.
So in other words, and when he was in high school,
he was very precocious. Yes.
He was active as far as like student.
But there were allegations in high school about thefts. Mm-hmm. There were insidious rumors, and we're not going to talk about them specifically because that's exactly what they are. okay, about behavior at Providence College. I just know he finished 10th in the city council, and then somebody stepped down. So he went to get in. And some people say he was precious, some people do it. He signed the petition to recall Will Flanagan. And Will Flanagan, who I believe is a man of honor and integrity, okay, who in the interest of full disclosure, is a friend of mine, okay? Without question, I've known his family for a long time. They lived on the side of my cousin and my best friend, Joey Kazin, in the projects in Forever, Stevens Court, okay? My cousin, John and Scuderigo, I've known Bobby Dias and that family for a long time. But that's when he started with his fairy tale about the dock ride and the intimidation by Will Flanagan. And that allegation got so much playing attention, the collateral damage, it almost ruined 3 people's lives. Paul De Silva, Tommy Goslin, and Will Flanagan were victims of this young man's con then. But he knew that, he knew that, so now he betrays the people who helped him get into 10th, right? So he knows he loses the support of the current mayor. So now he panders to, the anti-Flanagan crew, leads forces the recount or whatever it was, with the others, and further positions himself, into, when people thought it was all out of moves after he signed the petition to recall Will, he turned himself into a victim, okay? And he positioned himself very well, got him a lot of attention. He handled it like a master con, okay? Or the genius that he proclaims he is, or some of his people do, the young boy genius, whatever it was. He came out of there smelling like a rose. And I knew the truth. I didn't believe it for a second, but so on and so on. It's the optics, and he takes advantage of that thing to do it. Okay. Now, with that being said, okay, that's when he starts a work share space down by with the incident of what happened with the gun. And one thing I want to tell people about the gun, okay, and I'm gonna talk to you about some of the warts that I've had in my life, okay? And it's no secret to many that there have been times due to my lifestyle I put myself in positions where I shouldn't have been in, okay? But let me ask you a question, Rob. Have you ever had a gun pulled on you?
Yes.
Okay. Mika, have you ever had a gun pulled on you?
No.
Okay. I have, okay? And let me tell you something right now. There are 2 things.
Oh, gun pulled on me? No.
Yeah.
I've pulled a gun. No, I'm sorry. No, seriously.
Just
Okay.
don't shoot me, Rob.
No, I won't.
I listen, you may someday. And listen, so there are 2 instincts, right? The first one is self-survival.
Yep.
Talk, bullshit, con, be quiet. Survive that moment to live another day.
Yep.
Okay? That's what you want to do. The second is in an anger that is intense as any anger I have ever felt. Because through all of my ups and downs, I've never felt as helpless and as weak as I was with the gun under my chin.
Yep.
Okay? So it is obvious that my anger was furious, right? Now, you have options in this world. And I'm many things, but I'm not a killer. And I don't think I have that within my capacity, even on my worst day. So you go to the police or you go to some type of...
Right away afterwards.
When this happened, Jasiel reported this months after it happened. After the advice of multiple politicians and multiple prominent city figures and all kinds of clandestine conversation, and then finally he comes out. So right away, from my life experience, Let's preclude the pre-existing opinions I have on him, my instincts that he was a bullshitter, the rumors I'd heard about fraud and theft, all of it. Just from the gun thing, I'm like, nah, man, it don't work that way. You don't go back to the cops, a couple of months later or a couple of weeks later.
Right, because if you're that afraid to
you
go to the cops, right?
Yeah.
You don't wait months.
No.
And you don't wait months. Because within that point in time.
Yeah, the intensity's gone, the moment's gone,
right.
all of it. You feel me, Rob, on that one right there?
Yeah, definitely.
So now Will Flanagan is left to build the British and repair his reputation, as is Paul de Silva, as is Tom Gosselin. Three men that I consider friends of mine. Okay? Now becomes his term in mayor. Okay? And this is what really starts to go downhill. Okay? We talked about the Snow Owl app. Now, there are investors that have been defrauded, money that was spent at casinos, in strip clubs, on $900 belts and $700 shoes or whatever it is, on sex toys.
Listen, I look at it like this now. Yeah. What did they expect from a 24-year-old?
As I do, right? As I said, okay, listen to me. A friend of mine called me up and says, hey, listen, I know you're never involved with a kid, but give the kid a break. If you would have had that kind of money when you were that age, God knows what would have happened. And I understand that argument. Because you know what happens, Mika? Once you go into that business bank account one time,
you keep going
to grab. Once you take the lid off and you grab that 500, you're going back to the honeypot.
Yep.
And Rob, as we know, money can be as addictive as any drug.
Sure, definitely.
All right, and even though it wasn't his money, I could understand how he got himself jammed up.
Yeah, I can too. Because I think of my son who's 23, 24.
Yeah.
You put him in a power of position, in control of money like that. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be
a hell of a show. And
sure.
It's kind of like you ask yourself, who do you blame? Because us two in a right mind say who puts a 24-year-old in charge.
Yeah.
So do you blame the Florida voters that voted for him?
No.
No?
No.
Or do you think they were so bamboozled?
I think if they were so tired of politics,
the same people, right?
Yeah. Will Flanagan was an outsider who got elected before him.
Yep.
And I thought we were going all right with Will, but Jasiel being a master communicator, manipulator, of most, he believes himself. And now he's got the highest chair in the office. Now he has a lot of power. Now a lot of that petty, young behavior of paybacks and this and that and this and using your authority and throwing it around. I remember being at Tel Aviv restaurant with some friends of mine that are restaurant owners. Now, Tel Aviv is a hot spot in between what we know as the old fish company and the hot club, right? You know where I'm at, Rob, in Providence?
Yep.
They got a cigar bar. We go there, it's 2:00 in the morning. He comes in with his entourage, and he loved Providence. And he sort of saw himself as this Buddy Cianci quasi-mobster political figure type, which he was not even close. But young men can get deluded. They have illusions of grandeur. And he was and had accomplished a great deal, like you like to remind everybody, at a young age. How he accomplished it is jaded and tainted, but he got there.
His behaviors
so we're going to give him that.
Remind me of a sociopath. And I say that not as far as a killer sociopath.
You're not the only one who says that.
All right. His behaviors, me being in the psych arena, is a sociopath. His cockiness, his confidence, his manipulation.
His arrogance.
Yes. That's
his
part of... His
diluted sense of reality.
And his diluted sense of confidence. Like he has this confidence that he shouldn't have.
Sure.
That's a sociopath. A sociopath just feels like he can do no wrong, and no matter what he does, he don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Now, with the real Florida types, the guys who have seen mayors like Count Viveris and Ed Lambert and politicians and come and go and the power structure and the money structure and all the things that make a city tick and work, we're less phased by this. So we're in this swanky cigar bar, celebrate my friend's birthday, and the man comes in with a few of his little cronies. He says, "What are you guys doing at my place?" Right? So so I'm like, "What this motherfucker just say?"
Boy, bye.
And before anybody can say nothing, the owner comes out and says, "Kid, I'm tired of you walking around here like you're the boss. Are you crazy? These guys have been coming here for 10 years. What are you talking about? I don't even smoke, right?" So I'm like, whoa.
It's that cocky arrogance.
Yeah. Like
he honestly thought just watching him. Like at one point I watched him on the news and I wanted to beat the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Because his cockiness just bothered me so bad. You're not that.
Yeah. First of all, I'm a heron. And I guarantee you step outside of our bubble. When you mention Forever,
the first names that people
most people are going to say a heron.
Right.
The two guys I'm with are big-time restaurant entrepreneurs whose grandfather invented the Portuguese steak. So he ain't talking to no chump change. You know the dudes I'm with, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like a sociopath does not think that. He don't care who, you are.
Yeah. So right there, I can't even see that. He had me sold,
Yeah.
Cynthia, I know. I can't believe it. You were the only one, about 7,000 to 8,000 of you. Okay. So now we start to see that behavior. So then the indictment comes from Snow Owl, as it was like the worst kept secret in Forever. It's going on, and his behavior when he was being investigated, and the people around him are being subpoenaed. Rob, right? What does he do?
He didn't care.
He taunts the FBI by wearing a hat at a city function.
What do you mean?
I believe it was a Halloween Day event, a parade, they do it down Main Street.
Yeah.
And he had an FBI hat on. Listen, okay. I also was told that in the 4 days prior to his indictment date, that they anticipated it coming, that they had him under constant surveillance and his phone GPS. And he was out living his best life. They got there's rumors of him at casinos with women of the night, whatever it is. But anyway, they get him in Bridgewater, and they give him. And I was told that they, called him and said, "Listen, you're going to be in. We're giving you a curse call. Going to be in Boston. What's his face? Come and get me. The false bravado, all that nonsense. Okay." Whatever, to whatever is true, who knows? All I know is that they were sitting outside his place, and shortly after that, when that phone call happened, they dragged him out in the middle of the night in cuffs.
Says here, October 11, 2018, he was arrested and charged with wire fraud amounting to $231,000 and filing false tax returns.
Yeah.
And they accuse him of using funds from his company Snow Owl as his own personal ATM.
Yeah.
So my thing
is on strippers and all that stuff. And when they grabbed them, I believe, Rob, if you can look it up, they grabbed them in the middle of the night in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, I believe. If I'm
so my thing with that is that from what I remember, the media and stuff, after that, he pretty much welcomed the FBI to fall. He opened up his doors, with his cockiness, you ain't got shit on me. That's how he was walking around.
Sure.
So that,
all right,
and then they started digging up more shit.
Of course. And now, people in the city know he's dirty.
Yep.
Because, let's face it, just like New Bedford, just like Forever, okay, very tough to pull off a criminal conspiracy without people knowing. You start seeing people getting jobs they don't deserve. You start seeing, him hanging with drug dealers and him hanging with people with dirty money, and you see that coming.
Yep.
And of course, they were the first to turn on him. Okay, all right. So now, as everybody did, but which is no big surprise, right? So now you really see it coming, right? I haven't. I've talked to this man maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. I interviewed him as a young kid, but I saw him upstairs at a restaurant one night, and I went to talk to him. and we were talking about some business that I was involved in. And of course, he's the mayor. Everything goes to the mayor.
So what Cynthia said, I totally agree. Yeah. I do think his age messed him up, and with that age comes arrogance.
Yeah.
Because she's right. Past politicians have done some shit, but at the same time, his arrogance and cockiness. The past politicians I see and have done stuff. They weren't so. I mean, they're arrogant, but they weren't that visually arrogant. Yeah, they weren't so cocky about
and the stuff that they're doing with this stuff that they're doing is guys that they've had lifelong relationships with.
Yes.
He don't know any of these. He don't know Tony Costa. He don't know Hill Camara. He don't know. I mean, he don't know these guys like he should.
Right.
I know he was neighbors with Hill and his daughter went to school with him, but you don't really know. You know these guys.
You're not friends with any of them. No. They were associates because of who you were. They weren't associates because.
First of all, they're all 15 years older than you, 20 years older than you. You know, so okay, so now we all know his age. So I go and approach him. We shake hands, and I say to him, listen, there's no cash in the bag, okay, but whatever is legal to help you out. I say these people that I'm talking to would consider doing, whether it's donating to your defense fund, whatever it is, which is totally legal, which some of the marijuana people did as well too, right? I said, but nothing as illegal is happening here, period. Okay, and that conversation didn't last so long, and I said, Jasiel, on the other hand, I said, do this, my brother. I've been locked up for, let's just say, 30 days, okay? A little more, but 30 days. It is the most dehumanizing experience you could possibly have, okay? From the DNA to the fingerprinting, to the mug shots, to the delicing, to the finger up your butt, to the cough and bend over, to the you are no longer Mike Karen, you are now inmate 17752, blah, blah, blah. You know the game.
Yep.
Right? That is not a place that you want to be. Go in, throw yourselves on the mercy of the court, and maybe do a year, teach some inmates how to read, write a screenplay, write a book, right, Rob? Yeah. Write a screenplay, write a book, and turn this into a positive. You come out of jail at 26, 27 years old. I mean, he'd be out by now, right? If he pleads to the first case. Right. And I think if he pleads to the first case and becomes humble,
he would have been.
I don't think, and he cleans up his act, there's not going to be a second case.
Correct. But I don't think he's going to do that.
No, he did it because now, not only is this case filed, okay, and they let him out, he stays mayor, the governor asks him to resign, senators asked him to resign, the city council asked him to resign.
No, he was fighting that for a long time.
He does not resign and actually wins the recall election. But all the time, the criminal conspiracy, after being federally indicted, Rob, which on the charges that you read to me.
Yep.
Now you're going to take that, and now you're going to continue the criminal conspiracy, and you're going to get twice the heat, 5 times the time for much more serious crimes. Who behaves like that, Rob?
That's when I got
of a 24-year-old guy.
Yes.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I started to invest in the story, when he went to court and came out.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And was like, I'm still mayor. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't moving. F you.
Sure.
Y'all are not gonna make me leave.
And we're gonna talk about how his attorneys, once I'm done with his time, I think, might have done him a disservice. Okay. So now he's indicted for the second time. Right? Doesn't step down right away, but does eventually. You know, now he's looking at serious time. Now he comes to pariah. Now they got his house being rated live on television. You know, he goes in, you know, and now instead of looking at, 2 years, now he's looking at a potential 10 to 15, 8 to 10 to 15. But what does he do again? Another arrogant press conference.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing himself on the sword saying...
Instead of just shutting up.
Because, you want to know what? You want to know what? What you do affects your little sister. What you do affects your mother and your grandmother who love this kid.
Yep.
His father, his family, his friends and supporters who don't care about the money or the $900 shoes, who are the first people holding signs on a corner for him, okay? Before he became Boy Wonder.
Yep.
Before he became this. Now you're dragging them through it. Now your mother's waking up. And believe me, my family knows what it's like to wake up. Will Flanagan knows what it's like, okay, to wake up. Ed Lambert knows what it's like to wake up. Carl Viveris knows what it's like to wake up when you're with your house surrounded by news trucks.
Yep.
Now they're at your grandmother's. Now they're at your parents' house. Yep. Now they're at your neighbor's house. Now they're at your house. Now the Quibi series gets canceled. Now this is on. And more importantly, for the loyal bunch that had his back after first announcement and dismissed it, like you and I said, it's a young man with having too much money.
Yep.
Now the second time, they're gone. The only people left are the delusional.
This sounds awfully like a familiar story.
Talk to me about it. Which one?
President of United States.
Yeah.
45? Did we say?
Listen,
it does.
Now they're delusional in their support for you. And you win a recall election, but then you get beat soundly in the next one. And now you're doing time. You know.
He's listen, he is not ready. His little pompous ass is not ready for federal prison, no matter what level it is.
No, he's not ready for any type of prison.
No.
You know, let me tell you something. Just to be able to take a shower when you want to, just to be able to turn the TV on when you want to, just being able to go get a glass of cold milk or a turkey sandwich, you know, when you want to. It's crazy. But okay, let's go there. Now, Jasiel Correia, and it was pointed out eloquently in the Herald News by a team of writers, has never said sorry, has never owned up, has had multiple arrogant press conference in front of federal court where he has blamed the system, where he has blamed the judges, where he has blamed everybody. Which, Rob, is the worst thing you want to do.
That's going to bite his ass.
Okay? And the prosecutor said that. You want to go out there, put on those alligators tears. I can't believe I put my grandparents through this. I did not do some of the things they said, but I'm guilty of making bad judgment. Please have mercy on me. I'm going to live my life a dedicated public servant.
You want to know why?
For the rest of my life. Why? Because we're back to that sociopath thing,
right? Because he thinks, he in his mind really thinks he has done no wrong. And he feels his sociopath behavior feels like he's being, how can I say, he's being kind of framed.
So where is the father? Where is the older guidance? Where is the people that come and say, son, listen, sometimes you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
But when you're dealing with somebody like that, they don't listen. In that age, you're not listening. They're not listening. They're not listening.
Okay. Well, thanks for informing me about that, because one would hope that somebody who that you love would talk to him and say, listen, even if you're playing a game, right? Play him like you're crying. Play him like you're humble. Play him like you learned a lesson. Right, Rob? The last thing you want to come out there is looking as defiant and arrogant and pointing the finger at the body of justice that has your future in its hands. You have not been sentenced. And you know what the ironic thing about that was? He was allowed to go home for 4 months.
Where is he now?
He's home. He's home. They didn't
hold
him.
Yes, they didn't hold him. So he's talking about how unfair and how unbalanced and what a bad deal he got. But they let that man go home.
Yep.
For 4 months.
Yeah, but how can he not admit to, like it says here in the Herald News, 400. The snow. Never mind the other stuff. The snow owl thing is $410,000. So if he screwed people out of $410,000 and there's a record of it, how can he not admit to that?
Because he thinks that he thinks that was his money. He's not.
He was never going to be the tax charges and the embezzlement because he's writing the checks. He's taking the money out. They know where he's going with it. And by the way, do you know what the conviction rate on the IRS at federal court? It's like 98%. Okay, federal people charge federally in Boston. The conviction rate's over 90%. So right away, you know you're a huge underdog going in. Mind you, they have endless resources. As your resources are being sucked away by attorneys, they can add 5 more attorneys to your case.
Yep.
They can put more people on. So instead of throwing yourself on a sword, instead of being humble, instead of doing it all, what does he do? That sociopathic arrogance, bullshit behavior that he comes out with. And now it's time
to face them.
You're not, you're a studio gangster, protected by the 6th floor, okay, doing shakedowns of marijuana dealers. Potential shakedown for gambling machines and contractors and jobs. Here's a man that took half of his secretaries, of his chief of staff's pay. The same woman that managed his first city council campaign, managed his first mayor campaign and won, okay? And won a recall election for him as well. Jen Andrade. He takes half of her salary. Rob, sitting on a jury or as a judge, right? You shake down big marijuana, corporate America. It's bad enough. You violate the oath. You're doing this. To take down someone who you call a friend and your campaign manager, to take half her salary.
Yep.
Can you imagine how she feels?
Is insane. I mean, how do you get around that?
No, you don't.
But we haven't heard an apology yet.
Listen, if you think of most of the most famous sociopaths, they never have any remorse for anything they've done, even though they know that they've done it. They don't have remorse. Sure. And I don't think ever. I think he might come out of this and be like, you know what? I was wrong for his sake, but he won't mean it.
Sure.
He won't mean it. He won't give two. He literally is the poster child for sociopaths, not a killer version, but a manipulation.
You know what he's done to piggyback, and you said how you thought it was inspiring when he first got elected. Now he's made it difficult for young people to get elected.
Right. He made it difficult for anybody to trust anybody in that age group. Sure. There might be some real, live, legit.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Young people who want to do good in their community.
And say, young man, I can't vote for you. Young man, I can't vote for you because I think you need a little more season, a little more salt of life on you, a little more experience. Yeah. And that's going to be cold like I've been duped by Jasiel. Okay. So now we're a week away from sentencing. The federal prosecutors, okay, because you give sentence recommendations to the judge, right? So this is what the feds want. 11 years, right? 2 years on an ankle bracelet, probation after that, and close to $1 million in restitution. What Jasiel's attorneys had suggested are 3 years. Jasiel's attorney said he's done a lot more good for the city of Florida than he has done bad.
That's a lie.
Okay? Which is insane, again. But again,
they're paid.
A constant theme is reoccurring, Rob and Mika. No humility. If I'm his lawyers, okay, they totally misplayed it. The ones in the beginning should have had him play, but they wanted the money. Okay,
they want to drag it out.
Or maybe he didn't want to play.
Yep.
Okay. The second one still.
Here's the breakdown. They requested 11 years of incarceration, a year of supervised release, almost $300,000 in restitution, $20,000 restitution to the IRS, $566,000 in forfeiture, and a mandatory special assessment of $2,100, adding to up to $900,000.
And to this day, they're still looking for some of the money. And everybody in Fall River knows it. Okay? Now, some of the good things he does. Purple trash bags. I get it. I don't know.
What's that?
They have special trash.
He hires a drug prevention coordinator, which was a campaign lackey of his. And he resigned in disgrace because I think he was staying in the Park Plaza, one of them fancy hotels in New York City, and rented an SUV. You know, who goes to New York City and rents a car? And crazy. And he got fired for abuse of or let go
for the abuse of funds.
For abuse of funds. Okay. He pumps in millions of dollars to this thing called Cityscapes, which is to beautify an area of the city with trees and new sidewalks and all these little quirky things. A lot of people thought it was a waste of money. I did as well. But it turns out Cityscapes was that he determined that it was going to go, happened to be, the middle of Cityscapes happened to be the townhouse, the future townhouse restaurant to which his in-laws bought. Okay? That is in the paper as well, too.
Here you go. Here's your purple trash bag.
Yeah, there's a purple trash bag full of hundreds. City Pier. Cleans up City Pier, manipulates the RDA, turns some votes around, gets some new members on there, and then comes up with this lease agreement with his in-laws family again, or future in-laws family again, to give them the exclusive rights to have a place on the City Pier. So take Cisco's and times it by 5. And these are the good things
apparently
that his attorneys are submitting to the people. So the Herald News, being trained for whatever you think of them, good or bad, but professionals that are on the job, I said, hey, wait a minute. Cityscapes, everybody knows what are on your future in-laws think to make their property or their space more valuable. And the City Pier and everything. So again, a botched effort.
Right. Everything that he's done.
To lower sentences. Yeah.
Everything that he's done that's good has been to benefit him or somebody connected to him. There's nothing out there that benefited anybody else.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Now, we have something, right? In the Herald News article, his wife, who I like, and I know, and I feel bad for, and I believe is a strong woman, and I know she's loyal, and I know she's like that. Okay? But, okay, she is now saying that he is a God-fearing man in a Christian and godly marriage and wants to be a father.
That's nice.
And
I'm sorry, I'm a bitch. I mean,
no. They talk about the small business endeavor that they went into, but that small business that they talked about, Townhouse Restaurant, is like $50 for a steak. It's by far one of the most the high items on this thing. This small business, and the Townhouse is no small business. And she's saying that she is in an age sensitive time to have children at 31, which she may be or whatever. Okay, even though my mother's daughter got pregnant. My daughter's mother got pregnant after 40.
Listen here.
Yeah.
She is playing the wife card to a T. A wife trying to
of course.
Trying to manipulate the system to feel bad for her. Yeah. When did you marry him? When?
She met like 2 weeks ago.
All right, kiss my ass. All right, kiss my ass. Because if you would have married him way beforehand, then I would have said okay.
I thought they should have got married sooner.
All right. So my thing is this: you should have thought about that when you chose that man to marry.
Yeah, I believe she loves him though, blindly.
Hey, you could love whatever, but at the same time,
now you're in a situation like this. You want to go there a little bit with it?
Yeah, let's take it there.
All right, go ahead. Now, you were married to somebody who was doing 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Not married.
Not married. I was with somebody who was doing 10 years.
Who was doing 10 years. All right. So tell me what's that like? And no. But before we get to this, I just want to ask a few things.
Unless you put yourself in a bubble.
Hold on. The wife said it's going to be a life sentence of her not going to have the children if he gets to 10 years. Okay.
Freeze her eggs.
And there's no conjugal visits in federal prison, like I told you, and pen pals aren't going to get it done as far as having children. Listen. I read this for sure. Now, this is where she's at. He's found God. He's in a godly marriage. He wants to be a father. He wants to have kids. The father says hopefully he's a better father than I was. The grandparents and the parents come to back and say, of course they're going to say that. But for the first time, in his defense, he's saying the right things.
But it's too late.
But it's not him.
And it's his wife. And first of all, it's too late.
Yep.
And I feel like it's just a cop, like it's kind of like, you ever watch the Hunger Games? I don't know if you ever. All right, so the Hunger Games, whatever, they have a show, and if you win the Hunger Games, you don't have to fight in it again. So blah, blah, blah. It's like killing. It's killing.
Yeah.
All right, so at one point in the Hunger Games, they realized they had to go back in, so they threw in that she was pregnant so they wouldn't have to play again. Like, this is the shit that they're playing. They're playing a game. I don't feel bad. I say I don't feel bad for her because you know what? You knew what you were getting into when you married him. Boom.
Sure.
You knew what he was facing when you married him, so don't feel bad.
But you think she could do it in 10 years?
Oh, she probably do if she sits in a bubble.
Yeah.
But see, she's not like me. I had my share of fun. I was young when I did all that. But I'm going to say this. She's going to get bored. And if it's federal prison, he's going to be shipped out across the country. He's not going to be shipped out. He's not going to be in New York.
Yeah.
Or
not right away.
Or no. He'll be
then
like...
they reward him for that towards the end,
all
right?
So the one in Brooklyn is a holding place. Yeah. All right.
And it's Danbury in Connecticut.
Right. Those are all... Those are all low.
What's the one in Philadelphia?
That's I think not maximum. It's like a minimum. It's...
Yeah.
But they're all over the place. And majority of the time, they don't put them in the same state or close to the same state where they like. So not only now she marries him, she inherits his debt.
Sure.
She inherits all this bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. So paying all that money is now her paying all that money. She didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right. And not only now you're gonna have money to travel. To go see your husband. And you're going to go see your husband for what, 8 hours once a month?
There are people who say that there's money hidden. You've heard rumors of it being at the Azores. You heard rumors that it's in some of the restaurants and the properties.
It probably is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that.
If he's as smart as everybody said he was, he did some shit to hold some money somewhere. You know? And
well, how much?
Right.
How much is 10 years worth, Rob?
No, and I don't feel the pity party because now she wants to have kids. Well, you should have been fucking them before. Excuse me.
Yeah, you would think that she would impregnate herself.
Right. So now,
but then she's got something to go.
You got money, right? They got money.
But then the boy or the girl's father is born while he's in federal prison. Now you're off to a rough start.
Hey,
with the kid, I hear you. Yeah.
Like I as of now, I have no sympathy for her. Because if you just got married, shame on you. If you was real ride or die, you would have got married a long time ago.
But don't you have empathy for both of them?
No.
I know you, Mika, deep down in your soul.
I don't.
We're gonna get to the $1 million question, and you're gonna show some empathy. I believe.
Listen. I don't have empathy because they're pulling out all the stops too late, and I think that if
it doesn't look genuine, nothing
exactly. So if she would have pulled this stop before with the first indictment, then it would have been like, okay, maybe, blah, blah, blah. No, it's all fake. It's all a facade.
And let's talk about what you get back after 10 years, if he gets sentenced for 10 years, right? You're going to maybe have some mental health issues, right?
Correct.
Some insecurities, right? You know, there may be some issues of him having some violence come his way.
Let's talk about my ex when he did he did 8 out of the 10.
Yeah.
And when he came home, it was a big change. You know, he was kind of mentally abusive because of the way that he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had to have, because he was under somebody else's power so long. Yeah. He had to have control and have the power.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of psychological things that happen when a man is in jail.
Sure.
And it don't matter what kind of prison it is or whatever. Like, you can either learn from it or come out worse than what you.
Sure.
You
and most come out for us.
Yeah.
Let's call it spade a spade. Most.
You know, it's when y'all used to doing whatever the hell you want and have that cocky attitude like he does, and then you go into that situation, and now that all that cockiness and all that attitude is suppressed. When you come home, you do lose. You lose a whole decade.
What's the age difference between them?
They're relatively close.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because she looks older.
Looks older.
You would like her. And so would Rob.
She's very pretty lady.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, she is 10 times more genuine than him, and I think could potentially be being duped and conned by him.
I think so too.
I think this is one of it. I think, you know, that this is one of his last cons.
I think that he is telling her what to do, or not so much telling her what to do, putting things in her ear to make her make these statements. You wasn't a God-fearing man when you was up there smiling in the camera. You was a God-fearing man, your ass would have been in tears. Like, if you're the man and you're this stand-up guy and you're a God-fearing man, I don't buy any of it. I don't buy any of it at all. I just don't.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. You know, to see, you know, what happens. Now, okay, we've talked about all of it. We talked about the bravado and the sociopathic behavior at the press conferences right in front of the federal court system. We've talked about the taunting and the blaming of the judges in the system and all of that other stuff that he's never should have done. He never should have hired an attorney. It is impossible to beat the feds. He should have got a public defender. They know how the system works better than anybody at the federal level. Now, these public defenders at the federal level, I like the public, and there are good public defenders at the district level, but it's a whole other thing. They know the system. There's point system. There's better prisons you can get put at closer to home. They can work it better. These two sets of lawyers, I don't think did him any good. There was no sorry, no humility. I think that could cost him a couple of years. But okay, we have. So you know he's going to do 3 years because that's what the defense said that they think he should do. His lawyer said he should do 3 years. The prosecution says he should do 11. How much time do you think that he gets? We'll start with you, Rob.
Oh, I have no idea, man. I haven't followed it.
If one wants 11, one wants 3. How much do you think he should get?
I mean, he definitely he's got to pay for all the scams that he ran, you know.
Yeah.
And
what's the most egregious thing that you've read about him that he's done?
I haven't. The only thing I've seen is just the amounts of money that
fraud.
Fraud. That's the only really thing. I don't know anything about anything else. I never followed.
He didn't kill anybody.
No.
I think for me, it's the taking from the secretary. For me, that right there.
That bothers me a lot.
That makes me very
So he took from the secretary how?
Half of her salary.
No, not chief of staff.
Oh.
And he took half of
he took, and she ran his campaign to get him elected.
Right. Half of her salary. Can you half?
You know, I think she makes like $90,000 a year.
And he took half of that.
He didn't have enough money from all the other shit that he was doing.
He didn't stop. He was ripping and robbing blindly. He was from poker machines allegedly to from poker machines allegedly to contractors allegedly to marijuana companies to doing business. It was pay to play in a Jasiel Correia era.
So, I mean,
how much time do you want to get, Mika?
I say 5 to 10.
Just give me a number. See, I know you have empathy for him. I knew you would go low at the time.
5 to 10,
Because you
but
live that life.
I say 5 because he didn't kill nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
how about him taking an oath and being a thing? See, I'm gonna say.
But see, if they give him 5, they're probably gonna give him like 3 and then 2 on probation. So that doesn't matter. So I'll stick with the 10 because they like that.
Well, don't you have to do 85% of your time with the feds?
I'm not sure, but there's things like that that happen.
Ankle bracelets.
And good behavior and all
I've
that.
had feds on ankle bracelets. That's no joke, man.
Oh, that shit goes off.
I mean, federal probation, they don't need a warrant to come to your house. They'll come to your house, they'll put all your spaghetti on the floor, cereal on the floor, everything. You know, if you're, I mean, it's crazy. Drug test you, whatever they want.
Yep, pop up whenever they want.
Pop up whenever they want.
They call people around you. It's crazy.
Okay. My opinion is this. I think 5 to 7 years is appropriate for him. And I say that because I have a philosophy in my politics where I think our penal system is broken. Okay? And I don't think it acts in a rehabilitory manner at all. Mm-mm. The one thing about federal prison, he'll have access to the library and law library more than any state facility will give you. He'll have access to computers. You know, he's not going to have access to the phone like people think, because if one thing you know about jail is that phone is power and that phone is money. And, you know.
They have a new system. Like, they have new systems in there. They do video chats now.
Okay.
They do correspondent by email.
What do they do that with the social workers now and stuff with the social workers?
They do it with they do it like as communication, like phone calls. You pay for that.
All right.
And so they do video chats. They do email, correspondent by email.
Sure.
I mean, obviously they do the old fashioned stuff.
Yeah, of course.
With all this is going around though.
But we know phone privileges
are very, very scarce. Very, very scarce.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're at certain times of the day.
The white boys got the phone from 4 to 8. The Latinos got the phone from, you know how it goes.
Yep.
The phone is an intrinsical component of the bargaining and monetary system in any jail.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm gonna say 5 to 7, okay? And I hope he can tutor some inmates who can't read. If I was him, I'd write a book and a screenplay.
I think that I hope in this situation for him that he goes into prison and he makes good out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Because that's the way it's always going to be. Now, let me ask you a question. Is there a redeemable story left for him, Rob?
I don't know, man. I mean, what's he going to do when he gets out? You know,
I mean, the only
he's
way
going to run for office.
The only way he
you
has.
think he's going to run for office again?
He might.
Guaranteed.
And maybe he'll become an app developer.
Get the money up front.
I also think that he will come out, and if he decides to go to the good side, he might do something in a community or start something.
But who's going to trust him with money?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Power. Like, he can't do a nonprofit. I don't think that. Probably part of his sentencing is probably precludes him from doing any type of fundraising thing, Rob, you would think, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Anything financial, come on.
Yeah.
He might have to be in the background for a lot of things.
But
he's going to be in the background, all right.
What I would do. Now, let me ask you another question. How does he do his time? Like, for a kid who was comfortable in a Versace suit with $900 shoes and limos.
Oh, he's gonna be stripped of all that. He's gonna have to humble himself.
I wonder if he's gonna wear his. They said he had a Batman Rolex.
He did. That was a big part of the. That's a big.
Don't tell my son that.
Yeah.
My son will go find him and take it.
Now, let me ask. So, how does he do his time? The 30 days that I was in there, I was very fortunate that a lot of people, like, I didn't have commissary because I wasn't.
He better make friends quickly.
But people trying to be his friends too quick probably were trying to be predatorial to him, you would think, too, right?
I don't think I don't think people might try to be friends with them. A lot of the people might not even know who the hell he is.
Yeah, oh yeah, mostly. Yeah, but I know friends that have done federal prison with the Kwame Kilpatrick, who was a highly recognizable mayor from Detroit, and another black mayor that was highly recognizable from New Jersey. His name escapes me right now.
But,
Henry says they get over sentenced. You know, the politicians, if that was a private citizen, the politicians are going to get double the time as they should because they take that oath.
He needs to go in there humbly. He can't go in there cocky because he'll get his ass beat. Or
is he going to have to fight once to defend himself?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that politicians usually get put separately from that kind of crowd of federal.
Well, yeah.
So I think that he might not have to fight, but he might have to stick up for himself in other manners.
Okay.
I think that since he feels that he has a sense of power, he might go in there thinking he has a sense of power. And
that would be the worst thing for him to do.
But that's the kind of person he seems to be.
You don't think the processing and the plane ride being cuffed, and when is it going to hit this young man?
Maybe it might.
But when do you think it hits him?
When he's sitting in that cell all by himself. And all four walls, and he can't get up and just go. That's when it's going to hit him. Or when he has to take a shower in front of 10, 20 men.
Yeah, sure.
You know? So, I mean, he's either going to end up somebody's bitch, or he's just going to...
put his head down
and do it. He might end up in solitary. Who knows? He might end up there.
Don't they put you in solitary for your first week there to get you used to it, I believe?
They might. They don't just integrate you, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean... He might be by himself. He might just want to do that whole bit. Some men, but that's a mental torture.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't see how. I don't see how they do.
Being by yourself
I think
for that.
It's cruel and unusual punishment. I know. Is the wife there when he walks out?
Yeah, she seems like that kind of a woman.
I agree.
She seems like that kind of a woman. Does
the wife ever? Is she still duped by him? Because that's what I'm so disappointed in.
Because look at her.
Because I know her, and I know she's got a good soul, and I know she's got a good heart, and I know. But is she duped by him? Is she playing the dutiful wife? Do they have conversations?
Is she getting paid for this?
Or does she? Or does she say this? You know, Jasiel, cut the shit. You know what I mean? Like you did this shit. Like being part of it. Let me tell you something one time about what I know is true more than anything. A real good friend of yours will tell you what you don't want to hear.
You know what's crazy?
A real good friend of yours, right, Rob, will tell you, yo, listen, we got problems.
Yeah.
I got some problems with this and what's going down.
I feel like I feel like something's going to hurt her in this whole... She seems like a real, like, pure, not a pure soul, but like, I feel like something's going to come out and she's going to hurt. And I think, like, we still don't know everything that they know.
Check that guest list, Jenny.
You know, we don't know everything that, you know, the feds know on him. So there could be wiretaps. There could be everything on him.
There is. I'm surprised that it didn't come
out. You know.
There's been allegations of all kinds of crazy.
You know, how you're not embarrassed that he was spending money on hookers and all that. I know I would be embarrassed.
Yeah.
My husband's out there sleeping with hookers, and I'm this beautiful person.
Sammy wanna stand by her man.
Yeah, well, I ain't got time for that. My man will have no penis at that point. No.
The sad saga of Jasiel Correia.
You know,
There has been bigger comeback. I mean. But one thing people don't know about Cianci is this, right? And first of all, he's not Buddy Cianci. But he never won with a plurality. He never won with a majority again. He won with a plurality because there'd be 2 or 3 different types of candidates running for mayor. So he was a winner at 38%. You know, it's going to be... what is Cynthia saying up there?
The way I look at it,
yeah, I can't see it.
He was a small-time politician, easy to go, and I think he was ratted out by other politicians in the city. Look at federal politicians who are still walking the streets and not in jail. small time as far as
Yeah.
Yeah, she's absolutely she could be absolutely right.
I don't think he was involved with any other politicians. I think that he picked his circle of crooks.
You know what I'm thinking?
I mean, it's like right out of Dumb and Dumber. You know what I mean? Like, these guys aren't gonna, Hill Kamara is not going to hold up under questioning. Dave Hebert isn't going to hold up under questioning. These guys, it's just, they're not going to.
I feel like you made a statement earlier about like people were tired, you know, and that's why kind of they went in a new direction with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I fear that's what's going to happen in New Bedford, and we're going to have something, not same stature, but I feel like everybody's tired of that mayor out there.
Well, ultimate power corrupts ultimately, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is, there's a lot of difference between John Mitchell and Jasiel Correia. You know, Jasiel Correia came in stealing.
Right. He came in doing shit.
At 20 years old. That is balls bigger than anything. And that is, you know, laid the ground for what many people say you nailed. Maybe he is a, what's that word you call him? Sociopath. But the life and crimes.
Cynthia said he was a narcissist. Well, there's a big difference.
Explain.
Okay, so narcissist, sociopaths really think of grandeur.
Yeah.
Narcissists don't really think grandeur with themselves.
Yeah.
They just like to inflict. Like
Yeah.
they just like have control. They just like to pull you back in. A part of it is doing no wrong, but at the same time, they don't have that I'm the shit person. Like they just like to play like cat and mouse games, kind of.
Yeah.
Whereas a sociopath has that idea of grandeur, and they do no wrong, and they walk around like with a sense of power.
Yeah.
And the things, and they can manipulate people. Like I think of like Marilyn Manson is the key number one sociopath. He manipulated all them people to do that.
Charles Manson, you mean?
Whatever, yeah.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson too.
There's a lot of people do stuff too.
But hold on, him too. Now that the Charles Manson, no, yeah.
Charles Manson, Adolf Hitler, we go on and on.
Right,
and on
so
and on.
like those were the classic cases of sociopaths, whereas a narcissist is just like, look at me, I'm beautiful.
Yeah, come with me. Yeah.
And they like to play like cat and mouse games, like the pulling back, and I don't want you. Give me
come
out.
back here.
Yeah, he's not so much that. Yeah.
Control. Now listen. There's been bigger comeback stories. I hope he does. I hope somewhere he finds some peace. If not for him, for his family. And that's why I didn't want him to do 10 years or 13 years or 12 years.
That's his
because his little sister is going to be doing time too. And his mother is going to be doing time too. And his grandmother and the people who generally love him long before he's here will be doing that time and carrying that burden too. I take no pleasure in doing this show. We've avoided it for as long as we possibly could. But in the interest of our audience and the timely manner of this, we had to go down this road. I thought we did a good job. Thank you, Mika. Thank you, Rob. And out there, for Jasiel, remember this. I'm on Facebook and I'm reading 30 years. Do you know what 3 days is like in jail? I mean, 30 years.
That's a little bit
silly.
extreme,
Yeah,
but I think so.
And take no joy in this. And there'll be many people that will be. Even though, let me tell you something. Will Flanagan, Paulie De Silva, Tom Goslin, the rest of the people that he hurt and manipulated along the way. This is a tragedy, okay, which is going to end badly, I believe, sadly. Maybe he has that moral fiber and that thing, that instinct to survive everything that life throws on him and come out. And I hope he can, because I know one thing, that he's going to start off in a god-awful place. And for him, it might be when they bring him to the prison and they process him. It might be in a transportation van. It might be in the DNA, the fingerprinting, or it might be the time where he hears those bars click for the first time. No, he's not going to see the outside for 10 years, but it's going to happen.
I think with age, maybe he'll find some remorse.
Yeah, and I hope he does. And you know, as much as he's rubbed me the wrong way, as much as the damage he's done to my city, I will be thinking about him that day, and there'll be a part of me that, you know, hopes he gets through it. Okay, I'm Mike Herron. Mike and Mika. It's the Biz. Rob Leonardo. We'll see you tomorrow with Bad Cat Sports. Peace.